Okay, this discussion is going to be about the marketing of your property or your particular proposal to your database, to your potential buyers. This is a primer on the offering memorandum that is provided as part of the program. This is in addition to and a little bit more substantive to the iAnalyzeREI.com proposal that we talked about in the apartment investor finding discussion, online internet apartment finder deal finder program. So this one gets into a little bit more detail. It's a lot more in depth. If you are ultimately going to buy this property, this is the type of offering memorandum you're going to put together. This is not a private placement memorandum. This is not a PPM. This is not a replacement for the necessary securities documents that you still need to have produced by a securities attorney. This offering memorandum can become part of the PPM, but it is really just a marketing piece. Now, in your package, in your manual, this particular document is in a Word format. You can modify it any way you see fit for your property, for your organization, and I'm just going to run through some of the highlights of it right now. Obviously, this first page is what grabs everyone's attention. The name of the property, great big pictures of the property. These actually came right from the broker's proposals, so we didn't even have to take them ourselves. You're always going to put your best foot forward, as we discussed before, on these types of offering memorandums. Down here you're going to see the highlights. You see the check marks. It's below market occupancy. It's 90% occupancy guaranteed by seller. That is something that we negotiated in the purchase and sale contract. Utility bill back program, short-term hold, priority payments to investors. Those are the things that we identified as being selling features of the deal. Now, as you scroll down, you'll see that the table of contents, very, very in-depth table of contents. This is not like that iAnalyze REI proposal. This really gets into more about who we are as promoters, how the property is situated, things that have happened on the property as far as capital improvements, our investment strategy for this particular deal. Then we talk about risks. We talk about what's great about the marketplace. It really gives the buyer a whole lot of information about this particular property. It really sells the property to the buyer. This is actually much more in-depth than what the broker puts out. And this, as you can see, this particular property was located in Lexington, Kentucky. This overview, this is a very, it's kind of like the executive summary. This is where we talk about the deal. We talk about what we're looking to do, how much money we need to raise, what the deal is all about. And also we put down the disclaimer: returns are subject to change due to loan terms, new discovery, occupancy. Really putting in the caveats to make sure that people understand that this is an investment and there is risk involved. And we're not going to sit here and try to tell you otherwise. Now, as we scroll down, we talk about Clear River Partners. This happened to be a limited liability company that we had formed to go out there and acquire multifamily property. And as you can see, we have the principals, and you want to put pictures of the principals. You want to put little biographies about everybody. You want the people to understand who they're buying their property from, who is going to be running the property on a day-to-day basis, who is going to be there when the chips get when the going gets tough and the tough get going. And as you can see, there's my picture down at the end. And then we talk about other deals that we have done, other recent acquisitions, other properties that the investors own or operate. And it's all listed right there under the recent acquisitions side. And here we get into the executive summary. We talk about what we're trying to do. It's going to be an opportunity to acquire a quality property with guaranteed occupancy, seller financing, a repair allowance, guaranteed rent-ready units, and a substantial short-term upside. And that was our objective when we purchased this property. We then go into discussion of the property. We go into discussion of the location, why this place is a good buy, why investments are good buys, and then we do an aerial view of the site. And folks, realize that so far up to this stage, everything that you see in here can be done sitting in your home office. Everything is taken right off the internet. Either it came from the broker's proposal, or we go on Google Earth and we pull up the picture and we draw the lines right on there. As you can see, this is the aerial view of the site. Note that here's the main drag, Versailles Road, and here's Preakness 2 and here's Preakness 1. And if you haven't figured out one of the problems that we had with this property, you should take a look at it. The problem is that they are not contiguous. That almost caused a problem with our financing. So that's definitely something you want to take a look at. Now let's scroll down a little bit more. And we get into the map of the site, showing where it is. All of this came off the broker's offering memorandum. It was a Marcus and Millichap deal. So as you may have seen from other information that we provided, Marcus and Millichap gives some very good information. Marcus and Millichap gives some very good offering memorandums. They have some great information. So what would we really kind of steal from what they have? No sense reinventing the wheel. Now, then we start getting into these Excel tables. This is kind of where it gives a brief snapshot of what the property is all about. We highlight things in here that we think are important to someone investing in the deal. They'll want to know, how much parking, what year was it built, when was it rehabbed, what's the roof construction, how many units, what's the rentable square feet, does it have a clubhouse, what are the other amenities that the property have. We lay it all out for them right there. These are on your template that's included with the program. You can go in there and make these changes yourself to whatever property that you're looking at. Now we start getting into the photos. Now most of these photos were taken by the broker. Some of them were taken by us when we were on site, and included here a lot of the interior pictures we took ourselves. And then you start going down into the floor plans. You're really selling the deal to the potential end buyer. If you're a wholesaler, you want to put your name all over this offering memorandum, because essentially what you want to do is you want the seller, the end buyer, to take your offering memorandum and make it his own. Do all the work for the promoter himself, so he can get out there and close the deal with his own investors. We give a list of the capital improvements, and we talk about what our plan is for the capital improvements. Investor highlights. This is where we run through everything that we feel is a very strong reason for the person to invest their money with us. And can you imagine walking into a meeting with a end buyer, and you've done all this work for them, and you've plopped down their desk a very thick, solid apartment complex offering memorandum, and you say, guys, I'm here to assign this contract to you. If you want to do this deal, here it is. This is what I've negotiated. This is really quarterbacking the deal and taking the deal from the very beginning all the way to the end. That's why wholesalers are paid more than locators or bird doggers. And obviously you always put in the disclaimers. The rates of return displayed in this offering memorandum are only projections and are not guarantees of any sort. It clearly states that, and you state that in the offering, in the private placement memorandum as well. Then we talk about what the different strategies are. What the exit strategy is for the property. I really want to get down here to these right here. This is where we come up to the annual figures, the conservative scenario, the projected returns, and we start to show what the debt coverage ratio, the annual debt service, all those types of things over a 1, 2, or 3 year history. Now, as you can see, we identified this as a conservative scenario, and then we scroll down a little lower. And we look at the priority distribution to equity partners. That's one thing that we offered on this particular deal in order to entice investors. That some years we made it. Most years, because of the change in the economy, we didn't make that priority distribution, and so that just gets accrued to the investor, or it doesn't get accrued to the investor. It all depends upon how you structure the private placement memorandum. Then we go into the assumptions. How did we come up with our numbers? This is what we were assuming. This is what's going to happen when we sell the property. This is how much money you're going to get back based upon a 50-50 split. So we really break it down for them. All of these Excel spreadsheets are in your template. Now here, folks, I'm telling you right now, when you are out there looking to raise money to do a deal, or you're sitting in front of an end buyer as a wholesaler and you're looking to flip the contract, it amazes me. It always happens this way. The person who is looking at this beautiful proposal that you've put together, they always find this one page and they stop here. What's in it for me? And folks, that's what everybody buys off of. What's in it for me? So as long as you understand what your audience is looking for, if the promoter, if the end buyer is looking for a deal where he can get a preferred return or where he can get an acquisition fee, you want to sell what's in it for them. That's how you need to approach these types of proposals. Then what we do, let me turn that off. Then what we do is we look at a different scenario, the value play scenario. This is where we start to get aggressive with the numbers, and we try to stress the numbers differently. And as you can see, we do essentially the exact same analysis, but this time we change the income assumptions, we change the expense assumptions, we stress the property in a different manner. So this is where once again, as you can see, these are all the same charts, and look what we have here. What's in it for me? And this is what someone looks at when they are analyzing your offering memorandum. Never fails. Then we get into what the disclosures are. This is what the seller disclosures are. This is what we received from the broker as to how the property has been performing. So this is the information we received from them. And as you can see, it's essentially a cut and paste. You don't want to monkey around with it. If they've got it on a particular format, you copy that particular format, take a picture of it, and slap it up here in the offering memorandum. You never want to be accused of monkeying around with the numbers. If that's what the seller says it is, then that's what the seller says it is. Don't try to change it. And as we scroll down, we talk about what the acquisition expenses are. If you are building in to your deal an acquisition fee or even a wholesaling fee, this is where you will want that number to appear. As you can see here, expense reimbursement, $217,000. That was our fee for putting the deal together. That would be your wholesaling fee. $217,000. That is what our company made at the closing table. So ask yourself a question: is wholesaling worth it? Yeah, for almost $250,000 for essentially 3 months worth of work. Yeah, that's a pretty good deal. That's a pretty good return. So rent review survey. This is where we start getting into the real economic data of the community. All of this information was done for us. You can find everything about Lexington, Kentucky right from the internet. You can cut and paste this right into your proposal. And folks, always see, look at this. It's all sourced. You always want to tie that information back to something else. You don't want anybody to ever say, hey, you said Lexington was going to be the greatest town in the world. Yeah, I got that from the Apartment Research Market Report, 3rd quarter 2007 from Marcus and Millichap. Go check it out yourself. That's how you want these documents to be reviewed. Let me just kind of see if this is a, nope, I thought that was going to be a picture. It wasn't. You always talk about the risks. You always show the people what the risks are of owning real estate, of the risks of property management, the risks of selling the property. You always want to disclose everything. And keep in mind, folks, as I mentioned before, this is the offering memorandum. This is not the private placement memorandum. There are going to be more discussions of risks in the private placement memorandum. That's what you want. Disclose everything to the potential investor or the potential buyer. And that is why, if you walk in and you have this document all ready to go for a potential buyer, or the wholesale, the end buyer, they're going to look at you and think, hey, you just did all my work for me, thank you very much. And you did. And it's all laid out right here. Now we talk about what our management is, what we're going to do, what the due diligence is, and what the due diligence is, what the management updates are, how we do site visits. All of that information we tell them right out front. Now remember, we were the promoters. We actually ended up closing on this deal ourselves. If you're wholesaling this deal, that particular section will not be as relevant. This is where we start talking about what our experience is. This is where you would put the end buyer's experience. If you're going to sit down with this person, you're doing a sales pitch as to why he should buy this contract from you, maybe you should go in and fill this in about his company already, so he can look at this and see, yeah, this is me. This is exactly what we're looking to do. So when you start to build that type of a relationship with your end buyer and those people looking to buy your contracts, you'll have this all set to go, and you'll look like an absolute charm, absolute genius. Here we start getting into the commitment instructions. If you're not the promoter, this is not relevant, but as long as you have this information in there for your end buyer, he's going to look at you as having done him a huge favor. Wiring instructions, how to fill it out, if you're investing with your IRA, how to do it. Folks, that is all there is to this investment property offering template. It is something that you will become very, very proficient at, and I can tell you, folks, we raised almost $2 million on this particular raise using this offering memorandum. It works. It's already done for you. It's brilliant. And if you have any questions about it, talk to us, send us an email, and we'd be more than happy to help you out. Good luck.